everyone, welcome back to Insta Yarn Creations. I'm Crystal. I hope you are all doing well and are enjoying these videos, and by all means please subscribe, follow. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook and YouTube. So in this video tutorial I just wanted to kind of talk a bit about the stitch before I actually get into showing you the tutorial, just because of how different this stitch I found to be. If you see on my stories, I kind of talked about it a little bit and how it just seemed really awkward. So we are going to be learning the Drunken Granny stitch. So I thought the name was great. I kind of wondered why they called it that. So I did do a quick search to see if I could get a definition behind it, to see what it, what it really meant. But I couldn't find anything quickly. So, and the reason that I did look that up was because as I was doing the stitch, I was like, this is really strange. Like, it just felt like it went against all crochet rules. Not that there is any rules, but I guess it was just more like what I think, is like normal crochet. I mean, there's all kinds of varieties of stitches out there, as you know, as you've seen me do. But this one just kind of struck me as really awkward and odd while I was doing it. So I do have a sample here. It is really hard to see what it actually looks like because of the coloring changes in this yarn. I love this color of yarn, but it just doesn't really capture the pattern very well. But as you can see, the first thing that I noticed too as I was doing it is that you can see that each row kind of goes, this way, that way. So it's kind of neat in that sense. So I mean, again, that could be the reason behind the name of it, is just how like it's kind of back and forth, it's not very steady, that kind of thing. But then the other thing that also struck me as awkward was just the stitch itself. So once you complete the first row, you'll end up with having these chains and double crochets that you're working with. So when you get to the second row, you're actually working into the chain 2 space that you create from your first row. And what you do is you put 3 double crochets into the chain 2 space, and then you do a chain 2, and then you put in a 4th double crochet into that same stitch, into that same chain, and then you just move on to the next chain that comes up in the pattern in your row. And I don't know, when I was doing it, I kept getting myself like confused, and I was getting tripped up, and I was going into the spot that wasn't actually the chain 2 space because I felt like that's where I should move into. So it did take me a bit to kind of get into the groove of the actual stitch itself, but it is really neat, and it's really simple because you're just doing double crochets. It was just clumsy and awkward for me at first to even try to just get going, because it just seemed odd. Like after doing the chain 2, I kept forgetting to do the 4th double crochet into the same chain. So it was just, it takes a bit. Maybe it's just probably just me personally just thought that it was odd. I guess maybe I'm just more of a, like, I don't know how to explain it. Let me know in the comments if you've done this stitch and if you feel the same way. Did it seem awkward to you at first to do it that way? Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. Let me know. But yeah, so in the tutorial I will be using a different color of yarn so that you'll kind of be able to see the pattern a little bit better as I'm working along. And the other great thing about this stitch or pattern is that it is reversible. So either side can be your right side, which is great. And it, again, like I said, it's a 1 row repeat. So you're just repeating the same row over and over again, which is really great if you want something simple to make. So let's get started on the Drunken Granny Stitch tutorial. Let's get started on this stitch. So I've already gone ahead and I've done a chain of 19. So this stitch or pattern can be done in multiples of 5 plus 4 when you're doing your starting chain. I will also put a link in the description where I got this particular written instructions from, in case you want to go and check that out. So once you have your desired chain length, you're going to start in the 6th chain from, or the 6th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we are just going to work 3 double crochets. And 3, and then we are going to do a chain 2, 1, 2, and then we are going to do a 4th double crochet into the same stitch, or into the same chain right now. Okay, and now we are going to skip the next 4 chains, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to work into the 5th one after. We're going to do 3 more double crochets. And then we're going to do a chain 2, and we're going to work a 4th double crochet into that same stitch. And again, we're going to skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So into the 5th one, we are going to do the exact same thing, 3 double crochets with a chain 2, and then 1 final double crochet. So as I was explaining at the beginning of this video, this is what I find so odd or peculiar, I guess, with this stitch, is doing that extra double crochet into the same stitch after a chain 2. It just doesn't seem natural, I guess, to do it that way. But it's just, I think that's the reason why it has that name. It's just kind of wonky. It's just a little different. So we now are going to have, once you are down to only having 3 stitches left on your hook, we are just going to do a double crochet into that final stitch. Okay, and now we are going to do a chain 3, and we're going to turn. So now we're just going to be working into the chain 2 spaces. So you just have to be, I guess, kind of mindful as you're going along, because you have, and again, this is where it was tripping me up too, is that I had a tendency where I wanted to go into this space here, which is not the chain 2. That's where your 4th double crochet is connecting to your next block of 3 double crochets. So you actually want to concentrate on these 2 chain lengths that we have here. So we're just going to repeat, and then this is the row that we're going to repeat for each one until you finish your project. So again, it's just doing 3 double crochets, and then a chain 2, and then 1 final double crochet. Okay, so now we're going to move into our next chain 2 space, and we're going to do 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and finish off with another double crochet. So we now just have 1 final chain 2 space. So again, we're just going to do 3 double crochets, a chain 2, and then 1 final double crochet into that same stitch. And then to finish off this row, we're just going to do a double crochet into that chain 3 space that we do at the end, or at the beginning of the row. And then you're just going to repeat that same process over and over and over again. I'm going to do a chain 3. I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to start once again by doing 3 double crochets into this chain 2 space. I'll tell you though, when I first started doing it, maybe it was the yarn I was using too, because it was like it had a variance of different colors in it, so maybe that was kind of getting confusing for me too, or maybe I'm just getting used to doing it now that I've done it a couple times now. But it still is just, it's just a odd stitch. It's not how you would think that you would normally do something. I don't know, it just seems really different for me, and you kind of do have to pay attention. It is really neat, the pattern that comes out. Like, it's kind of, you know, here and there, and maybe that's part of the drunken granny part of it as well, is that it, you know, it's kind of just not, it just, I don't know, it has like a uniqueness to it. It's quite different. But again, like I said, you can, it's reversible, so you can have it whichever way you want it to go. And yeah, so I mean, this length here that I did would be, you know, a good size for doing like a headband if you wanted to. This pattern would be great with blankets. Doing maybe like different colors throughout the blanket, it would probably look really neat too. But yeah, it's really simple, but really odd at the same time, but I do kind of like it. I mean, I could see me making a blanket maybe with this, because it's just quite different. So that brings us to the end of this stitch slash pattern tutorial. I do hope you have enjoyed this and have, you know, learned a new stitch, or will try to learn a new stitch if you haven't already worked with this one before. I thought it was neat. I liked the name. Didn't really think, you know, anything of it until I started doing it, and I was like, this is different. It's really, really different, but it's cute at the same time. So I'm gonna end this video there, or here, and I will see you guys again soon. Stay safe and have a good day, evening, morning, whatever time it might be, wherever you're watching this. Bye.